Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we're getting into another Marvel Legends figure review. This is of the Silver Surfer from the movie, the MCU. Fantastic Four, the First Steps. Now, obviously, in this set, you're getting set, yes, you're getting a alternate version, and obviously based on the MCU, you're getting an alternate version of Silver Surfer. But this is not just a random female replacement. In the comic books, they actually did have a moment in time where it was a female Silver Surfer. I believe it was in a What If universe, and it was Shalabal, which is normally Silver Surfer's girlfriend from his planet. So it's just a kind of swap of roles. So I think that once people understood that and realized that for the movie, that it was a little easier to digest the idea, like, oh, it's not just some random female, it's, you know, his partner. So it'd be the equivalent of, you know, if someone did an alternate movie where instead of the Hulk becoming the Hulk, it was Betty that became the Hulk. And if they told you it was an alternate universe, you'd probably go, okay, cool, like I could deal with that. It's an alternate universe, but it's not some random female, it's Betty. It's a character we've always known. So, but anyway, so jumping into the figure, and I wanted to first just display them on this kind of pose like this. I thought it was kind of cool. I feel like this is one of the figures that comes with, it's not a lot of accessories, but it feels like a very bulky amount of accessories, if that makes sense. Like, you're getting a lot of plastic. Now granted, she is a smaller figure, she's slim, so similar to Invisible Woman, she's a slimmer character. Invisible Woman has one of the biggest additional accessories of this wave as well, so she kind of falls into the same boat. Now I could take her off the surfboard off this, and you can see this here. Now it's interesting, I'm gonna pull her off now. It's interesting how this board has these kind of lines going through it, and you have a little bit of like orange painted in there a little bit. I don't know what it's supposed to represent. I don't know if it's taking some element from in the movie, that I don't know. If you're not familiar with what it's coming from in terms of if there was a scene in the movie that depicted this, because I don't remember, it just looks like a scraped up surfboard, and so I kind of don't like that. But they do say that it's a larger surfboard than Silver Surfer's, the male Silver Surfer ones, Nor and Rad one. For the I think they said there's a Walgreen one, and I reviewed that one on the channel before. I believe I did. And it was a non-unboxing review, and that one and previous other ones where the surfboard is a little more like one shape. So it's kind of, you know, straight lines. It doesn't have this kind of curved angle where it gets smaller at one tip and larger at one tip. It was like even straight across, and then it would just be even circle on each side. So this is a little bit different in that regards. Other than that, you know, it works, but I just think, another thing, the size of it is really nice, but at the same time too, yes, it definitely looks different having all those kind of things on it. I do wish though that they had, that Silver Surfer's board is one of those things where I know a lot of people, when it comes to those collectors who like to really pose these things up and whatever. I bought, this was for my son's birthday. He wanted the whole collection, but for those who like to pose their figures and really kind of put them on display, I could see why someone would want multiple locations to stand on the Silver Surfer board. And I say that because in the comics, Surfer used to stand on his board in so many ways. If you remember the other Fantastic Four movie that had Silver Surfer, Nor and Rad in it, he even did that sometimes too, where just like in the comics, he would stand on like all the way back here on his board. I'm gonna move this out of the way for focusing purposes. He'll stand all the way back here on the board sometimes. Maybe someone would be on the front of the board. He could share the board with other people as he's talking with them while he's flying around. You know, yes, you could be at the front, and they did that in that previous movie as well, where he's leaning forward right at the tip like this. So it almost makes you want to have multiple pegs on here that you can, foot pegs that you're able to stand them on, because, and in this case, her, because, you know, it's like so many different dynamic ways to pose Silver Surfer. But I always a fan of that. Like when he wasn't in, you know, obviously you would always have him in the center in the comics, his hands spread out similar to this right here. And he's dashing forward with his hands spread out to the side. I don't have the pose going on like this right now, but it'd be kind of something like the arms would be going far way back. maybe taking a knee like this, and something like that, you know, something like that. You get the idea in the comics. But there were so many other times too where you'd have the pose of just, like I said before, sitting on just the edge like that and just coasting, or like it just finished coming from like a high speed thing and they're just kind of looking around. And it was just to me, it was always fascinating. Maybe other people didn't really kind of get consumed in that, but it was always fascinating at what point was the Silver Surfer standing on their board. Like, was it here, here, here? Like it conveyed so much different things going on. I felt like in that other previous movie, when it was the Norrinrad one and he was standing at the front here, it showed that intensity when Johnny Storm was chasing him, and it was like, this was like that intense point, like I'm racing away right here, and then it's like, it's just different. So I just always found that to be fascinating. Now this right here, when it sits in this piece, you can see the little grooves on each side, like the inlay for it to just kind of go in. I don't like to just clamp it down like this because you may not get the right fit. It's easier to bring it up from this way and slide it in until these match the width of the upper part of the board, and then that's when it kind of locks in to a degree. You don't have to press it in hard, but it locks in, so that's cool. And then you get 3 additional hands. Obviously I have the open palm hands on right now, but this right here is the holding the surfboard hand, the closed fist, and the other closed fist. So let me just get, I'm sorry, a little closer into the figure because we didn't even get into really examining the figure that well. I've been talking all about all this other stuff about Silver Surfer. You see the eyes there, the detail in the eyes, which actually looks really nice, but it's like from a distance, you don't notice that. So it's kind of cool because it gives the illusion that you can't really see that. And then when you get up close, you can, and you can see it in person when you get up close too. She's definitely very slim. Most female bodies are like that for Marvel Legends. You can see the hair sculpt, and the hair looks just, it has this kind of glistening hard metal-like hair look going on to it. Even though obviously all hair is never posable on Marvel Legends, but this gives you, because of the color, maybe because of the way it is, it's not one of those kind of dynamic hairstyles. It definitely feels like it's solid, almost like it's metal. She's got a little bit of ab crunch here. Let me pull out a little bit. Yeah, now as far as her tone goes, it's not, looks like a little bit of paint discoloration going on right there, but it's not super chromy. I actually don't mind that because I feel that sometimes when it's not very chromy, you won't have as much. Here we're having some discoloration in the paint, and this character wasn't even really played with, so it really just came out of the box like that. But nonetheless, in general, and maybe that's done on purpose, because now as I look at it, I think I'm starting to see that here. Am I seeing a little bit of gold here, here, up there? So is it a thing that's just mistake with the paint, or is that a thing to kind of give it a little bit of more like contrast? I don't really know. But anyway, so I would say that as far as like a deep chrome, I'm okay with that not being the case, because I feel like if someone's moving around over time, or whether kids are playing with it, it's more likely to resist having like flaking or anything like that as it is now. When you have a high chrome type of polish, unless you just have it strictly on display, and as much as collectors want to deny this, these figures are made for kids to play with as well as collectors. But I think the primary intention is for kids, even though collectors might say, well, there's probably more collectors buying it than people getting it for the kids. But at the same time too, I think that's overall its intended purpose. So with that being said, it is nice when you have something that won't be able to, you know, scratch up a whole bunch. But then again, it's kind of in between. You do like having a lot of chrome on someone like Silver Surfer, so, you know, it comes with the territory. But anyway, you guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. You guys might want to pick this up. Link's going to be in the description down below. And as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.